Good evening and welcome to the Millis Public Schools School Committee meeting of February 28, 2023. My name is Stephen Catalano. I am the chair. I'm going to start with the roll call. Denise Gibbons, secretary.
Here.
Robin Briggs.
Here.
Mark Conroy.
Here.
Miss Roach, Kerry Roach.
Here.
Mr. Mullaney, the superintendent's here, and Mr. Wiggin, the director of school finance and human resources, is here. Before we begin, I want to announce that this meeting is being recorded and can be viewed on Mondays at 7 p.m. on Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 37. All meeting videos are also posted to the Millis Public Schools website under School Committee. All videos are also available on YouTube. All school committee minutes and agendas can be found on the school committee page of the Millis Public Schools website. Persons wishing to speak during open session must sign in before the meeting starts. Comments are not to exceed 3 minutes in time. Individuals may not name students, staff, or parents. All topics for discussion must be limited to those items listed on this evening's agenda, and all comments must be directed to the chair. The committee may not respond to public comments. It shall be their decision to discuss issues at a later date. All times on the agenda are approximate. Susan, has anyone signed in for open session? Okay. So we have two action items tonight. The first is the consideration to approve the February 14th, 2023 school committee meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Briggs.
I make a motion to approve the February 14th school committee meeting minutes.
Second.
A motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next is the consideration to approve the high school program of study revisions. Mr. Ardicki, would you like to join us up front for a very brief presentation? We defer to your judgment. Approved. Oh, no, we have to actually, we probably have to actually.
I can go over this a little bit, but I won't take very long, I promise. I have no Dave asked me if I had a PowerPoint.
No, in all fairness to you, the fact that you're not asking for any FTEs or any sort of.
Steve, do you want to do the teacher?
Oh, geez, I jumped in front. That's how excited you were to get me up here, huh? I jumped right in front of Stephanie.
Would you mind? Could we bring up the teacher?
Come on up, Ms. Cookies.
I need to take my attendance.
Dave, can we start over? And Ms. Coppice, the teacher rep, is here.
She brought props the last time, too.
I know. I apologize sincerely.
Was it because I was sitting in a different chair?
We got a lot going on tonight. I apologize.
That's okay. The first question I'm going to ask you, so I don't forget.
Me,
Yes,
directly.
Directly to you.
Yep.
A few months back, you had mentioned an interest in periodically having actual students here telling you about what they were doing.
Yes.
And while I know your next meeting has a very kind of packed schedule, it is the night before the science fair, and Ms. Hickey was wondering if one or two of her kids, in lieu of my presenting, could perhaps just briefly share what they were doing at the science fair the next day.
I think that'd be a great idea. We do have a budget hearing that
I
night.
know, so I would not present that night. We would just have those, and
I think that would be a great idea.
Would you like me to give a very specific amount of time to have them ready to work within? 10 minutes
Does
tops?
10 minutes seem fine?
5 minutes per child should be sufficient.
Let's do that.
Okay,
I think that would be great.
okay.
Thank you for that.
I listened to you.
I thought it was going to be a much more difficult question.
Like what?
Will they be set up in there already?
They can bring their boards here if you like. It's easy.
No,
to-
I'm just
we can
wondering,
go
like,
there.
if they're
But if
all
you've already
set
got a
up-
busy schedule, I don't want you to.
Well, actually, you know what? We could probably come a couple minutes early and
Yeah,
go,
right.
go
Early,
there
yeah.
early and then start. We can
Okay,
come
so they
here.
can meet you. I believe they'll be set up. I think so.
If they are, if not, I'm just thinking if
Okay,
they're all
yep.
set up, then we
Why
can
don't we do
just
that
go in there.
6:45? We can meet, go through, see a couple of the boards, and then come here and start the meeting? Or do they want to do it here at the meeting?
It might be nice for them to come to a meeting.
Yeah.
You know what?
Okay.
I think
Okay,
you're right.
it's kind of
It's sort
fun.
of special for them, I think.
But we can still go and
Yeah,
look
you
and
can
see,
visit
and then.
first,
On your way
check
into
it
the
out,
meeting.
and then
Okay.
the students could tell
We're
you a little
spitballing
more.
ideas. I like that idea. We'll go view it, and then you can designate a couple to come.
Perfect.
And 10 minutes would be perfect.
That
We can work with 10 minutes.
Well,
And we're starting, that meeting is going to start at 7.
that was my next question. I was like, are we back to 7?
Yes.
It's very exciting. March. All right. So I can't believe it's literally only like 2 days back, but the first grade welcomed the Easton Children's Museum for presentations on light and sound. So the kids worked with vibrations, making kaleidoscopes and kazoos, which I think would be a lot of fun. The knockout competition, which thank you all for teaching me what that was. We then had one at our pep rally, so I felt less ignorant. The champion was Kelsey Cole. it's exciting. And then in a more academic note, they had a Math Acceleration Academy during vacation week for grades 3, 4, and 5. And actually, I interacted with a student at Mary Poppins rehearsal last night who'd been to the academy, and she said she had a fabulous time.
Good.
I was like, what did people do over their break? And one kid's like, I went on a cruise. And this child was like, I got to go to math camp. I was like, aren't you the sweetest thing on the planet? So when they can make it, have a good time, that's great. 2 students from the CFB, this comes from Tana, received the Massachusetts Student Achievement Award for exceptional MCAS performance. So that's good news. And at the end of this week and the end of next week, Ms. Tashin and Mr. Clauso's classes are coming to room 109 for fun with flame tests and calorimetry. So we got a little more chemistry for the grade 3 students. Up in the middle school, the yearbooks are on sale. Be sure to get yours. It sounds like fun. And we have 6 middle school students, Emma Callahan, Janelle Makwana, Aurea Johnson, Violet Scalisi, Kat Kawillo, and Phoebe Allen have had their art selected for display at the Youth Art Month celebration at the Massachusetts Art Education Association. And so it's always fun to have kids presenting there. In grade 8 in STEAM, they've been using Play-Doh to kind of find the volume of spheres. So that's been kind of a fun one as they're kind of building their kind of connection skills. And yoga, they had yoga right before break, which was nice. And in 7th grade, the students are producing their own fun, like educational shows in TV media. So those will be coming to the Millis channel shortly. There are cooking shows, dance shows, all sorts of crazy shows. And 6th grader Josephina Burr has won the Mass Art Education State's flag design competition. So this is also part of the Youth Art Month that's happening. And so the theme this year was Your Art, Your Voice. And so the students designed flags and submitted them, so that's exciting. At the high school, we've had some Students of the Month for January, Pat Halloran, Caitlin Richards, Drew Roddick, and Maddie Miga. So they got announced at the pep rally before break. And Dominic Barisano was selected for finalist for an Artist of the Week at Artisonia. So that's kind of nifty. He did bird's eye view of the city. So that's kind of exciting. In classrooms, Mr. Bigelow hosted Richard Robinson, the head farmer at Hope Still Farms, to talk to his AP Hug kids about like the role of agriculture, because that's a huge part of that thing. So commercial versus small scale farming and things of that nature. And the students, I had a couple of students in class right after that, and they all were like, it was kind of neat to meet a real live farmer. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I had exactly the same thought, but I guess when it's in your backyard, you don't think about it. And seniors are in the final stages of their senior projects, and you can see the flyers and things going up. If you do swing into the cafeteria, you can see Cynthia's new mural taking shape. And sophomores have just started digging into their sophomore research projects, so they've been finalizing topic picks. We've got quite a range this year, from the pink tax to NBA refs and rigged games. So down the road, we'll bring some of those to show you what they're going to be working on, writing their research questions this week with Dave Fallon. High school has kicked off March Madness. If you walk that way, you can see the bulletin board that's got all the activities planned. So thanks to Tracy Maycumber for organizing that yet again this year. A lot of interesting stuff going on. In the arts, senior Kayla Walsh, her senior project was a one-act play that she's entering into the Theater Guild competition this year. So it's called The Play is Selkie. It's written by Lori Brooks, and in addition to performing this weekend at Franklin High School in the competition, they'll be presenting the play Friday night here in the auditorium. So it's a completely student-run activity. The Chem Club will be interviewed by our parent organization, the American Chemical Society, this Friday during our lunch meeting to hear what we've been doing this year. This is a new outreach that they're working on, so that'll be kind of fun. And of course, in athletics, there's been lots of exciting basketball news. These all come from Derek. Boys basketball qualified for the D5 tournament. They are seeded number 30. Their first game is tomorrow. Girls also qualified as the number 1 seed, and they will be playing on Thursday. Both of those games are home. And of course, spring registration is open for spring sports because it is almost spring. And finally, just to put it out there, Spanish immersion program is already looking for, housing for their aides for next year. So anybody who's watching or listening, if you've got an extra bedroom and want to have a fun experience, let Adria Osborne know. And then with regard to the presidential thing, because you asked me a question last time.
What was my question? I hope
Do
it
you
was a
not
good
write
one.
your questions down?
No, I don't. I think it was an excellent question. Could you just remind me of what the question was?
The question was, what was the actual evidence of bad leadership?
Yes,
That was.
yes, yes.
Do you really remember that, or are you just
No,
like
I
humoring
actually,
me
now I do.
Okay. So basically, I guess it was I had a hallway conversation with Miss Yamp about that because, of course, we were on vacation for a week. It was things like inflation, like numbers, like taxes going up,
Okay.
conflicts with other places,
Okay.
things like that.
2023,
So-
okay, I get it.
Well, I think it's been since the onset of the formation of the
Exactly.
country. So
That's
thank
bad
you.
leadership.
So thank you very much. You won't hear from me again for like 2 weeks because we'll have I'll be here, but we'll just have the 7th graders present next time.
Perfect. Great presentation, thank you.
Mr. Ardicki, thank you for letting me go in front of you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks. See ya.
Thank you, Ms. Copese. Thank you, Mr. Ardicki, sorry about that. And as I was saying, as you were sitting down, the fact that this doesn't have any implications for budget, meaning no new positions, there's no budgetary impact, we're going to defer to your judgment on what you need to do. But I know that this is part of the process that you need to come to us.
Sure.
And we need to approve it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And this, I think, running some of these classes goes with us, staffing as we are, and then, as they always do, it goes on interest level, and
Sure.
how the students sign up and whatnot. So I'll kind of buzz through these quickly. I think you guys have seen the packet, so
Yep.
I'll just have an opportunity just to kind of introduce the things quick and give you quick explanations. First off would be for the program of studies for next year, just new courses that we are proposing that may run. One would be a children's literature class that would run opposite of creative writing in the spring, with the hopes of potentially doing some work with Clyde Brown and helping and having the kids write children's literature as a propelling forward after creative writing. Also a study of different cultures and their fairy tales and different children's literature. So we think it might be a nice, we're going to put it out there and see if it might be a spring class to run after creative writing and drive some interest in the students. It's something that one of our new English teachers this year taught at a previous school district and had some pretty good success with. So we'd like to put that on the books for next year and see if we have interest. Then we'd go into the science department. A couple of different potential new offerings. It would be 2 half-year classes. It would be an oceanography class for a half year and an earth systems class that would run for a half year, one fall, one spring. These would potentially be for 11th and 12th graders. We ran a conceptual physics class this year for the first time in probably 10 or 11 years. And I think these might suit the needs of those kids a little bit better and also give us some half-year potential options for science if kids need extra credits in some way, shape, or form, and also would just give us some different courses in our science catalog than we currently have. They would be mixed CP1, CP2 level classes together, each half years. So those are 2 of those in the science realm. And as I'm going along, stop me if you have any questions, okay?
Gotcha.
Through the new courses, also one that we'd like to offer that Ms. Copese actually kind of brought forward was a materials science class that would, it's a design and engineering process around metals, ceramics, glass, and other composites. It is a class that we've had some success running chemistry too over the last 6-7 years or so. And what this would do is, if we had enough interest in it, might potentially run 1 year, chemistry 2 the next year, so juniors and seniors would have a chance to take both courses. But what it would also potentially do is give us an offering for our STEAM scholars in the engineering realm too, so that would happen at some point, either junior or senior year. They'd have this in addition to potentially the Engineer Your World class that we already offer. And this would be a mixed honors CP1 level class. So those are our new courses. So any questions on
No,
those?
they look excellent.
Okay. And again, as always, it's interest in staffing that'll drive those as we go forward. For course leveling additions, we would like to move to offering, we already offer individual in the law and philosophy at the CP1 level to our sophomores, juniors, and seniors. After freshman and sophomore year, kids can take U.S. history freshman year and sophomore year at the CP1, CP2, or honors level. As you get to junior and senior year, we really haven't had any honors level offerings. We have AP Psychology, we have AP Human Geography, AP U.S. History, sometimes AP U.S. Government and Politics. The Brian Kraby, who teaches these classes currently, it may or may not be him next year, depending on how we shift things around. feels the history team feels like we could do a mixed honors CP1 class for law and for philosophy to give kids a potential honors option if they wanted to have that for junior or senior year. It's something we think we can try out next year and see how it goes. There would obviously be some differentiation in the expectations for kids at the honors level, but it would be a potential to offer an honors history level outside of the AP realm, which is all we have outside of CP1 for juniors and seniors right now. So those are really the course changes and additions. For prerequisites, I can kind of buzz through these quickly. A lot of these stem from the movement in our math programming over the last couple of years. One would just be chemistry honors. The course recommendation was from a biology teacher previously. We would move for a recommendation just to say from science teacher, because there are kids that are going into chemistry now that are juniors and seniors that are not just coming from biology, both at the honors level and the CP1 level, which are the next two that you'll see in your packet. And then it was consultation with current math teacher, which we already had in there. For honors chemistry, it was concurrent enrollment in honors math. And again, that's not to be particular, whether it may be algebra 2, geometry, whatever it may be. If we've got kids coming into the junior, senior level into chemistry, which does happen at times, we just want to make sure that the idea that they're taking an honors math corresponds with the class, because that's been where the kids have had the most success. And same thing at the CP1 level. We just want to ensure that kids will, that are taking at least a CP1 math as upperclassmen or as sophomores going into that chemistry class. Any questions on those? Nope. Okay. And then moving along, environmental science. Again, this was another thing we had in there in the past, that it was successful completion of biology with a C or better. The science team has decided that that's not the sole predictor of success in environmental science, be it at the CP1 or CP2 level, and that there are kids sometimes as juniors and seniors that are moving into environmental science that have demonstrated progress and growth over time, that just that grade in biology was not the sole determining factor. So they really want to do that based on the recommendation of the current science teacher, both in environmental science, CP1 and CP2. And then as we're moving along, physics honors, this is again just moving along with our new curriculum shift in the math department. Previously it was honors geometry, honors algebra 2. We would stay with the honors geometry requirement because kids now are doing algebra, geometry, algebra 2. But what we would also do is, since kids are not jumping into physics until they're juniors or seniors, we would say you could be taking have gotten through geometry honors, but you could be concurrently enrolled in algebra 2, or if you were a senior, in a higher level math class, because you would have surpassed algebra 2 at that point. So again, just lining up to the math curriculum. Moving along, for AP Human Geography, this has been on the books for a few years now. We offer it to a select group of sophomores, and so this is just formalizing that in the program of studies to say that it's teacher recommendation for those sophomores, because it is a small group that jumps in. And then the prerequisite grade of A or higher in US 2 honors for 11th and 12th graders just falls in line with what we do for upperclassmen in AP US history. So we're just kind of syncing up our course recommendations and prereqs for those. Course description changes. I think I can sum this up for you pretty easily. We didn't have Algebra 2 on the books here this year as we shifted our curriculum. Moving into next year, Algebra 2 will be back into our sequencing, and in aligning with the new curricular path and state frameworks, the math teachers have just reworked some of the wording in the Algebra 2 descriptions to just fit and frame what they will be delivering for content in those classes. So pretty simple explanation on those. And then I think, last but not least, one thing that we would like to try and experiment potentially with next year is with AP Biology. In the past, it's our juniors, mainly juniors, that take AP Bio. We will have a senior or two that jumps in. One thing that we've always talked about was the potential that kids taking biology as freshmen, had they had the opportunity to potentially jump into AP Biology as sophomores, coming off of a year of biology, they wouldn't have that gap between freshman and junior year to get there. That being said, kids doing that really need to have taken biology and then either concurrently or have taken chemistry in order to be successful in that AP Bio class. So this would be on teacher recommendation to a very select group of sophomores who had the willingness to both to take AP Biology and chemistry their sophomore year together to be able to jump into this class. So I don't know how many students will want to jump on that, but I think those would be your kids that are incredibly STEAM and STEM motivated and STEM engaged. And if we looked at some of this, I looked at some of the schedules from this year at the kids that we might potentially target to offer that opportunity to. And for the majority, it worked with their schedules based on what I had on the books for this year. So the caveat would be that, it would be based on, availability in the class and making sure that our upperclassmen are getting into those classes, because as sophomores, you'll still have opportunities to take AP Bio. So we want to make sure our juniors and seniors are served and that it will fit into those kids' schedules. So that'll be relayed to them if we go through this. And, again, it may ease, if a few of those kids do it and they're motivated, it might ease some of that AP push as they get to junior and senior year, where they don't feel like they have to take quite as many classes, or if they were interested in something else outside of AP Biology, if they get it out of the way sophomore year, they might be able to jump into a different AP junior or senior year. So, I hope that was succinct enough.
It was
but
perfect.
Any questions on
questions?
that?
No?
If no questions, I would take a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Conroy.
I make a motion that we approve the changes to the high school program of study as presented.
Second.
A motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Mark.
thank you.
So, at this point, we're going to move from open session to a working session that's going to be off camera. So I don't think we have anything else to do on camera. So, do we do a motion to move to working session? We do.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
have Mark put a note on the door.
Yeah. Mr. Dickey, could you put a note on the door, the conference room? So if anyone's for,
the working session is in the library.
don't be surprised if there's no one there.
I'll make it really good.
Stay for 3 hours, please, and just go down the hall. Okay, let's take a motion to move to an off-camera working session,
Mr. Chair,
not to return to open session. Ms. Gibbons.
I make a motion to adjourn from open session to enter into working session to discuss the budget, not to return to open session.
Second.
A motion been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Dave, we're good.